It's that time of day again, that time of the week, time of the year, time of the month, whatever you want to call it. It's Dream Rides time. We're back here in Sheffield. James, good to be here.
Certainly is.
That is weird old shit.
How can you say that?
But no,
that's British engineering at its finest.
I mean
one
it
of the
in
most
the best
iconic
way.
motorcycles of all time.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean that in the best way
It's
possible.
England's answer to the Harley Davidson.
It is. It is.
And in my opinion, better. It's faster, more reliable, handles.
This is an era of bikes. We did the 70s two-stroke Kawasaki, which was a big sort of culture shock for what I'm used to riding. And this again, it's an era of bikes. I'm sad to say I've had nothing to do with. I asked my parents about them when I was a kid, and they went, "All British rubbish is a waste of time. Ride a Japanese bike," and that's where it ended. So this is going to be special.
I mean, these are so iconic. You've got, I mean, they've been in so many films. Marlon Brando,
Yeah.
James Dean had one,
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood had one, I mean, even Steve McQueen.
And say that every time someone mentions Steve McQueen around the Triumph
So
Bonneville, you have to
it
press the horn.
was a lot of the famous people, the celebrities, loved the Triumph Bonneville, and you couldn't understand why, because when you actually ride one of these bikes, it feels special.
Yeah.
It feels cool. The vibe it gives off as well, and obviously with it being the Bonneville, which the American market really wanted something faster and more sporty, and obviously Triumph came up with the Bonneville with the twin carbs.
It's got what's that on the tank? World record, speed record holder.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get that on
It makes
production
me
motorcycles anymore.
makes me, when I ride actually one of these, it makes me feel very proud to be British, and we've sold a hell of a lot of them over the years. We actually sold one to Pinewood Studios for Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, which was a great scene in the actual film, but they're just fabulous. I mean, they're cool.
People are so particular about it. People
that's
know
right.
whether they've got the right handlebar grips, the right clock, the right wiring loom. It's an enthusiast
Yeah,
bike.
because it's passion. You've hit the nail on the head. People are so passionate about these bikes. And it's like when you ride one, you've got to remember the gears are on the opposite side.
Yeah.
They don't particularly stop, but you're thinking about what you're doing all the time when you're riding one of these. But that's the attraction. That's the love for them. And the history that goes with them. It's a rich history. And it's just a shame, we've not got this no more, really.
When you look around this and you see made in UK on the clocks, the Amal carburetors made in Britain, the tank made in England, it does feel special. And here's the rub. So I have ridden pretty much all of the modern era Bonnevilles. I've ridden the carby ones, the injected ones. I consider myself someone who knows quite a bit about modern Bonnevilles. I've taken them apart, I've cut them up, I've tuned them, and yet I've never, ever ridden an actual Bonneville, a proper one. Which is, it's sacrilege, it's ridiculous. So, time to get out on the roads and time to live my own Steve McQueen cliche.
I'm excited for you to ride this. I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised.
I'll hold you to that. Let's go. Listen to that British twin roar. That is a good sounding engine. This is a 1966 Triumph T120R. I'm not going to lie, that doesn't really mean anything to me. That's just a stream of letters after the word Bonneville. I know what a Triumph Bonneville is, but this is so far out of my era and my comfort zone. I was never brought up around it. My granddad rode things like this. My dad and all his mates, when I asked them about British bikes as a youngster, they said they're a load of old shit, don't bother with them. and that's where it ended. But I've always been fascinated by them, probably because my parents didn't like them. I do feel like I've been missing out. There's so much fun, and the riding experience, it's so involved. You've got to work hard on it. Changing gear is clutch in, big deliberate shift, clutch back out, open the throttle again. You can't just click it up the gears. You certainly have no sort of clutchless shifting or anything like that. You've got to be so deliberate with it. Braking, it has a front brake, it has a front brake lever as well, and you can pull it and it feels like it should be doing something, but it sure as hell doesn't really change how fast the bike's going. Look, that's 4 fingers. Not a sausage. So the rear brake does most of the work, which should be fine, but then the rear brake's on the left-hand side. It's a British bike from the 60s. So where you'd think the rear brake would be, there's a gear lever, and where the gear lever should be, there's a rear brake. And that is taking 90% of my concentration right now. That is a massively appealing thing to me. Whenever you ride a modern, powerful motorcycle on the road these days, everything comes easy. And they're a phenomenal thing, and they're a great experience, but the effort required to go at, let's be honest, more speed than you should be is so low. It doesn't really, it comes so easy to you, to anyone. So when you ride something like this, where the simple act of getting it running is a hell of a procedure, and then every mile per hour you have to earn, because you've got to work the gearbox, you've got to work the chassis, you've got to plan ahead, you've got to really plan your braking. I find that very addictive, and it's a different type of an adrenaline rush riding it. It's not that kind of intense craziness, it's this kind of sheer concentration and working the bike and listening to the chassis and the tyres, and yeah, I'm waffling now. It's just bloody addictive, and I love it. So along with these bike specialist videos, we've partnered up with Bimoto for a little bit of useful motorcycle cover for insurance purposes. Bimoto will actually do cover for bikes that are laid up, so if the bike's sawn and stored in a glass case in your living room or whatever, track day policies, multi-bike policies, motocross bike policies, they've got a huge range of different insurance options. And my favourite feature, given how often I change bikes, is that you can change your bike or change the details of your bike mid-term, add a modification, change the address, and they don't sting you with that annoying 40, 50 quid mid-term adjustment fee, which I've got a lot of time for that. So well worth a check out if you're getting your insurance sorted sometime soon. Dad, if you're watching, you owe me an apology. You told me British bikes were shit. You told me that Japanese bikes were better, and you were kind of right, but I've missed out. These things are great. I have had such a good time riding that Triumph Bonneville today. You owe me an apology, Father. This is genuinely the first time I've had a chance to ride an original Bonneville, and in all honesty, a bike from this era, a bike from the 60s. There's a lot to learn, there's a lot going on. Before you even get a chance to ride it, first you've got to find the key. It's buried in the side panel. You've then got to tickle the carbs, which everyone who knows what this is going to be shaking their heads in disbelief that I didn't, but apparently there's a button on the carb you have to press to let the fuel bleed through into the carburetors. So fuel taps on, tickle the carburetors till your fingers get wet with petrol, right amount of throttle, get the kick right, find the compression, big old kick, and actually it started first time every time without a fight. I think I was just terrified of it kicking back, terrified of getting it wrong or flooding the engine. But that pretty much sets the scene for everything I've experienced today on this Bonneville. It all needs a little bit more thought, a little bit more knowledge and understanding of the machine. It's not just as simple as press the button, ride away. Everything needs your involvement, your input. And there's two approaches to that. You can either, as I think my parents did back in the 70s and 80s, go, I haven't got time for that, I just want to press a button and go. Or you can kind of fall in love with that a bit, fall in love with the experience of fiddling and tinkering and understanding your bike. It's a daft romantic old thing, but I'm a daft romantic old person when it comes to motorbikes, and I've really enjoyed doing that today. Once it's running, purring away, that beautiful British twin-cylinder engine just sounds and feels gorgeous. You know, everyone talks about Harley Davidsons having that iconic engine note and that iconic feel to the engine, but these had it too. It's a different engine note, but it is that brilliant sound and feel that already kind of makes your hair stand on end. Then you've got to put it in gear and ride away. Again, not simple. Gear lever's on the wrong side, gear lever's on the right. It is a one down, however many up, but it's on the right hand side. Every single time I pulled away today, I tried to put it in gear with the back brake. Not once did that work. You have to use the gear lever. Get your head around that, get it rolling, and it's actually a nice, easy thing to ride once it's moving. Every gear shift needs thinking about. Every corner needs planning because the brakes don't. but it's actually, the chassis steers really nicely. It doesn't do anything wild. It bounces around over the bumps, but it doesn't snake off into the bushes or try and do anything stupid. It doesn't do any horror stories that you kind of build old stuff up to do. It steers well, it's nice, it's supple, it's comfortable to ride, and provided you get the thing stopped in time using the slightly terrifying brakes. Come on, stop. No, it's not going to stop for that. It does actually rail a line through a corner, and you start thinking, actually, yeah, you can ride this fast, and you can pick a line, and you can, get some speed up. And all of a sudden, that reputation that Triumph has for great handling, that reputation the Bonneville had for being a fast bike, you see where it comes from, because in 2020, whatever it is now, I'm enjoying riding it, and I'm having a great time, and it feels like it's got some speed, some spirit to it. Imagine that in 1969. Like, it would have been mind-blowing. It would have been such a rush to ride something as fast as this all the way back then. You can see why they've got that reputation, why all the famous movie stars, Steve McQueen, rode them. It is an iconic bike, and it is a really special thing to ride. Modern bike, get on, press the button, and all the speed, all the cornering, all the handling, it's all easy. They just do it for you. On this, you earn every single mile per hour. You earn every single bend. And that's what's really got under my skin today, is you're a part of the ride. You're really involved. If you get it wrong, it's not going around that corner. If you get it wrong, it ain't gonna change gear. It's gonna go and make you spit your foot off the lever. You have to work hard. You have to work with the machine and understand it. And that is rewarding in a way that genuinely no modern bike is for me. If you've not been out and tried a classic bike and tried to see if it does that thing for you, do it now, because I'm only just discovering how much I love this old stuff, and I've wasted 20 years of motorcycling not breaking down at the side of the road. There's a future I've got to look forward to. This has been not the most adrenaline-filled or exhilarating or childhood dream-based dream ride for me, but that is a proper dream ride, and it has really opened my eyes to how good classic bikes can be. I'm just trying not to make an offer on it now. We're doing it. I'm overtaking people on a Bonneville. Take that, modern technology. Wrong.